What is up, people, and welcome to the third installment of frame by frame tutorials. In today's tutorial, I will be showing you how you can craft a 1/6 scale picture or painting with the frame and that little glass in the front to simulate a real picture, right? You see the light reflecting, okay? Now this is a bigger one than what we're going to be doing today. This is one that I've done already. And the ones we're going to be working on are going to be a little bit smaller, this size right here. Now this is all stuff that I'm making for the upcoming series God's Last King, and I figured while I'm making this stuff, I should maybe just show how I'm doing it so that if anyone wants to know in the future, they can refer to these videos and see the techniques, right? So, as usual, I'm going to start by telling you what you're going to need for this project. Now this project is going to be a combination of digital and physical aspects. Okay, so there will be a very brief digital aspect to this project, which is actually very important, but shouldn't take as long as the physical part of it. The first thing you're going to need is, well, picture frames. Okay, I bought these on eBay. I think I got 4 of them for like maybe around $10 or so, and I'll leave the link in the description so you can go buy them if you want as well. They are about, let me see the size, they're about 3 inches by 2.5 inches, right? That's the size that we're working with here. And I have 4 of them because I want to do 4 little pictures for my project. You're going to need the X-Acto knife that we used in episode 2, right? Link in the description as well. You're going to need some Scotch tape. You could, I guess you could use any kind of tape you want. This is what I happen to have. I would prefer to use double-sided tape, but I'm running kind of low on that, and the pieces that I have left are not as sticky as they once were. So I figured it's better to use Scotch tape instead. You're also going to need some like clear plastic. Now some people that make tutorials and stuff like that, or dioramas, they use plexiglass, and I do have some plexiglass here. This is plexiglass, but plexiglass is kind of hard. Like, it's definitely, you can definitely bend it a bit. It's not like as solid as regular glass, but because it's so hard, it actually can crack and break and stuff if you're not very careful with it when you're making it, when you're doing stuff with it. So I prefer actually to not use plexiglass. This one over here is plexiglass because I tried using plexiglass for the first time around. But I'm gonna try this time to use softer plastic and see if that actually works better. So these are just 2 soft plastic sheets that were delivered in my package when I bought some stuff online. So I don't know what you would call this, but I guess just like, soft plastic sheets. All right. And then I have a bigger one down here, this one, which is a huge plastic sheet that also was part of a like toy packaging kind of thing. And I decided to save it because I thought I could use it for stuff like this in the future, so I kept it. You're also going to need, I'd recommend a pen of some kind, some sticky notes or just a notebook because we're gonna write some information down, and a ruler, right? Now, I think it would be best if you have like an anti-slip ruler with like maybe the the rough, what's it called, cork on the bottom to prevent it from slipping. I don't have one of those, and I don't feel like buying one right now, so I'm gonna see if this one can work for whatever I may need it to work for. And then you're also gonna need maybe some, just some basic cardboard or something. We're gonna use this to stick onto the back of the picture at the end. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you're gonna need for the physical part. As far as the digital part is concerned, you're gonna need a printer, and you're gonna need some kind of photo editing software where you can choose the size of the images you want to print. I'll be using GIMP. You can use Photoshop or something else, whatever works for you and can actually accomplish the simple task of basically sizing the photos that you print to how big you want them to be, okay? For the first part of this, we're gonna measure the frames and note what size picture we want. So the way these frames are designed, if you look here, they have this like groove in the back where like a picture could actually like just fit in that groove. And so that's what I'm actually going to use for my measurements. These ones, the big one that I showed you earlier, on the back of it, you can't see it right now, but the back of it doesn't have any grooves or anything. So this picture is literally just sitting on top of the piece of board, or cardboard or paperboard that I put there. So there's no groove or anything like that. So what you see in the front here is the actual size of the photo, right? Whereas for these, what you're gonna see in the front is going to be slightly smaller than the actual size of the photo because of this groove here, if you see what I mean, right? So we're gonna measure this and see basically what size photo we're gonna need. And let me see, so this looks to be about 1 inch. Okay, so these are 16, so it's 1 inch and 15/16. Okay, yeah, so that's what it looks like to me. 1 inch 15/16. So let me write that down, and this is what you're gonna need, the pen and stuff. So just note the measurements because you're gonna need to know them when you're editing the photos in your photo editing software. So 1 inch 15/16. Okay, and now I'm gonna measure the longer side and see how large that is, and it looks to be about 2 inches and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 inches and 5/16. Let me see, hold on, just trying to get super accurate here. Already got that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 or 6/16. About 5/16. 1 inch, 2. Oh, is it 2 inches or 1 inches? My bad. I said 1 inches. 1 inch. 2 inches and 5/16. Okay. 2 inches, 5/16. Okay. So here are our measurements. I've written them down. And now, depending on, because you may not want to use the exact same frames that I'm using, and depending on how your frames were manufactured, different frames may be slightly different sizes. For example, these ones, the large ones, although I bought these together as a set, they're actually slightly different sizes. So if your frames are all different sizes, you're going to want to measure each one to get the correct picture size for each frame, right? And that was actually kind of a tedious process that I had to use with these ones. However, these small ones, I measured them earlier just to check beforehand, before I started recording this video. And it seems that these are like the exact same size. So I shouldn't have any issue of like variation with different frames. So now we're gonna head on to the digital aspect of this, and let's go. All right, so here we are on my computer, and before you do this step, well, I mean, I guess the first step of this step is that you want to make sure you download it and have all the photos that you're going to need for this project, right? So I also have GIMP opened over here and a calculator, the calculator app. You can use a physical calculator too, it doesn't really matter, but you are going to need some kind of photo editing software. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to, in GIMP, I'm going to click File, New, and I'm going to start a new file, which will be the size of the paper I'm printing on. So I'm going to change that to inches, and I'm going to change to 8.5 by 11 inches. Or you could also choose from the templates up here, US letter, and that'll be the exact same thing. Press OK, and now we have a blank page, which is the same size as the paper that I'm going to be printing on. Now I want to drag those photos into GIMP, highlight them all, drag them into GIMP, right? Now here, and then just drop them all in there. And they should load in as all separate layers. See them? They're all here, separate layers. And now you need to note your measurements. Okay, so my measurements were 1 inch and 15/16 by 2 inches and 5/16. So in order to basically create that on here, I am going to choose the selection tool right here, the rectangle select tool. Click that, and I can actually hide these for now. And then layer, new layer, and just call this like picture frame. Picture frames. All right, and I'm gonna start drawing a selection, but I'm going to go over here and I can actually choose the size of the selection. So I'm gonna change that to inches, right? Now, 1 inch and 15/16, I don't know what kind of a decimal that is, so I'm gonna go to the calculator, and 15 divided by 16, my bad, 16 equals 0.9375. So I'm just going to call that 0.94. I just round it up. So we're going to have 1.94 inches times 2 inches 5/16. Let's see. 5 divided by 16 equals 0.312. So 0.31. So that's going to be 2.31. 2.31. Enter. And so now that is the size of the pictures that we're going to be printing. Okay. And now I can actually press edit, stroke selection, because I want to see this line after I'm done. And maybe stroke it, like 4 pixels or so, and press stroke. And now when I press select none, we have that little square right there. Now, I don't know why the edges are rounded. It looks like the corners are rounded, which is I didn't want. So I think I'm gonna actually redo that without feather edges. So, and now we have our rectangle, which is the same size as what we measured earlier. Now I want to actually duplicate this. I want to have 4 of these on the screen, and I can actually move this around as well. Let me Control X to cut it, and then Control V. Actually, you know what? Let me just grab it if I can. I just grab it. Hold on, it's very small, so zoom in, and I want to grab it and drag it around where I want it to be. This is all right. Drag that. Okay, so drag that around a bit, and you can actually turn on some guidelines to show you where the middle of the screen is. The middle of the canvas you're working on. I think you do image, guides, new guide by percent. If you want it like halfway up the screen, or horizontally, press horizontal 50%, press OK. Now you have a guideline which is halfway through the page, and I will actually put another one, image, guides, new guide by percent, which is vertical. So yeah, like that. And I want to put this, just want to have them evenly spaced. You don't have to, you're going to cut them anyways, but I just like to have it look kind of nice. So you have that there. Now I'm going to press the selection tool again, and I'm going to select that area. Then I'm going to press layer, crop to selection, right? And select none. This is going to make this layer small, like how this one is. I'm going to duplicate this layer 4 times. So to do that, you go over here, right click, duplicate layer, same thing, duplicate layer, right? And I'm going to grab the other 3 and bring them, if I could touch it. All right, yeah. Bring them, into these 4 sections here, evenly spaced. I don't know why it's not letting me grab. Oh, yeah, my bad. So drag that down there. All right. And then you want the last one. Bring that over here. And so now we have 4 picture frames, or, basically outlines of the frames to the size that we want. And now we're going to begin actually cropping and reshaping these images to fit into these frames. So the first one we're going to do here is this St. Michael painting. And so we're going to zoom in 50%, maybe make it a little bigger. The percent to zoom in, zoom in a little further. Now I think this is a little too far. Let's try 80. And that should be good enough. So you want to click the scale tool, all right? And you want to click on the image. And now you can either scale it proportionally to how it's proportioned right now. And to do that, you see these two little braces here? If you click them, if they're connected to form like one like chain link, that means it will be scaled in the same proportions as you have it now, right? You can't like make it longer without also making it wider, if you get what I mean. But if you click those off, you can actually scale it however you want, right? And that's actually what I'm gonna do here, because I want it basically it's not the same shape as the frame, it's kind of longer. So I'm gonna bring it down. Actually, let me cancel this. I want to get rid of that white around the image. I noticed there's like a white around it, so I'm gonna choose the fuzzy select tool, click the white part, click delete, and let me see, right click. Oh, let me add. You have to add an alpha channel. So if the photo you're trying to create transparency on does not have an alpha channel, you're not going to be able to get transparency on it. So let me right click this and press add alpha channel. And if you notice here, there's some, because the white is, this part is also white, I'm kind of selecting in there, which I guess is not a big issue because it's all white anyways. So, and the background we're printing on is going to be white, so that should be fine. So let me click once again and then delete. And now that white part should be gone. You can check by turning the background off. And yeah, so that white border is now gone. All right. And so select none, click select none. And now we're going to begin scaling this image. Click on it. I'm going to have the braces off. They're not connected, so I can scale it however I want. And I'm going to bring it down to match the size. Or I guess I could actually just type the same numbers in here. So that would be, what was it? What was the width? 1.94, I believe. Let's see, 1.94. Press enter. No, that doesn't look right. Let me see, is it the height? 1.94. Okay, oh, you know what happened? Because the size of this layer is bigger than the image is why it's a bit off. So I'll just do it manually. So bring that down. I'm actually going to make it a bit bigger than the frame. And the reason I'm doing that is because the printer adds some small margins. And so it doesn't print the image to the exact size that you put in there. So I'm going to try to print it a tiny bit bigger than the actual frame. And that way, if I have to like cut extra off, that's fine. But you just want to print it a bit bigger than you want, because the printer is going to print it a bit smaller than you want, right? So you kind of make up for the difference with that. And so that one looks pretty okay, I believe. Let's zoom back out and save. You want to save your project, Control S to save. All right, once your project is saved, let's continue. So 25% just to see them all again. And now we're going to do the second photo, which is this icon of the Virgin Mary. That picture that we just did was a Japanese style icon of St. Michael the Archangel. All right, so I'm going to drag this over here, and then we're going to zoom in. And you can zoom in. I'm not using a mouse, so I'm not really sure how to zoom in on a mouse, but on a touchpad like what I have, you put both your fingers on it and then separate them, and it like zooms in or zooms out, whatever you want. Yeah. Or you could also just click this thing down here and choose a number or type a number, whatever you want to do. And for this image, it's a bit dark. I actually want it to be a bit brighter than that. So I'm going to edit the colors a bit. Let's see. You click, oh, here you click colors. Let me see. Exposure, brightness, and contrast. Let's see how that looks. Increase the brightness. Okay. Increase the contrast. Oh, that's looking much better. Much more like what I want. A little too bright there, I think. Oh, that's a little too, yeah. All right, so that looks a lot better, but I kind of want the yellow to pop a bit more. So let me click colors. I think hue, if I change the hue to more of a yellow, let me see if there's where yellow is. I guess this is the yellow. Let's change the chroma. All right, lightness. Easy cancel. All right, that looks a little better, I guess. So levels, in fact, let's go to curves, colors, curves. Change the value to, well, it's red, green, blue. There's no yellow there, my bad. Cancel. Let's do that what we were just doing just now. Hue, chroma, or saturation. Let's increase the saturation. Yeah, that looks nice. There we go. That's a lot better. That's a lot more like what I'm looking for. All right, maybe leave that at 0. Definitely want it. Okay. That's pretty nice. Let's leave that. And I prefer it looking like this. So Control S to save. And so I'm gonna click the same scale tool, and we're gonna do the same thing we did for the other one. Increase this to a bit larger than the frame outline. Like that. All right. Press enter. All right. And so hopefully that is good. I'm gonna save again, because if you haven't saved and the game crashes, you lose everything you didn't save, obviously. And I'd rather not do that. So let's move on to the third image, which is this, the coronation of the Virgin Mary. All these are Japanese style because God's Last King is supposed to be a Catholic anime in Japan, right? And so I'm trying to use Catholic style art for the icons here. Let's click this. Same thing as before, same process. Increase the size to match the frame that you measured. Expand the width. Now I wish you could see the frame while you were doing this, but you can't. Let's increase this side a bit more. Like that. This other side and the bottom a bit more as well. Let's just click the move tool and move it up a bit. And that should be good enough. All right, and let's now move on to the fourth one. Save, of course. Fourth one is of St. Paul Miki, a Japanese Catholic martyr. So his picture is very small compared to the others. And it's going to be, because it's so small and I'm scaling it up, you will lose some degree of quality. If you import, of course, very large images and then scale them down, your quality will be much better. But I don't really mind because these are just like tiny photos that are going to be hanging on the wall or on the altar and stuff like that. So they don't need to be super high resolution. Gonna do the same thing. Click this one. You want to zoom in, get a good look at it. Scroll around and then increase this past the border there, right? And then bring this one past the border as well. And this. Press enter. And then click the move tool. I'm gonna drag this around like that. And now that should be good, right? Although I might make it a little bigger. It's a bit thin at the border area. And remember, your printer is gonna print this stuff smaller than you want it to. So that's why I'm making it just a bit bigger than what I measured, so that if anything, I'd rather have to cut it down to size than have it be printed too small to begin with, right? So Control S to save, and now these are ready to print. I believe. All right, so they all look appropriately sized. You can press File. Now you can look at page setup and you can try to get 0 margins. You want to get as small of a margin on the border as possible, because the smaller the margin, the more accurate the size of the print is going to be to what you entered with the numbers. The bigger the margin, the more it's going to be off. It's going to print them smaller the bigger the margin. You're going to print them bigger the smaller the margin, right? And let me click portrait. And now it says 0.116. Let me see if I get 0 in there. Can I get 0? Nope. Sometimes it doesn't let you get the 0. I don't know why. Now I pressed enter there. Let's see if that made it save the 0. File, page setup. Sometimes it saves the 0. No, it's not saving the 0. But let me see, 0.110. Well, let me do that. 0.11. Okay, let me see, 0.10. 0.1, which is 0.1. All right, let's try 0.1 and see if it'll let me print with that. It's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it lets you put a 0 in there, sometimes it doesn't. But even if you do put 0, I don't think it actually prints with 0 margin anyway. So let's click OK. And then I'm kind of worried about these with that margin. I guess let's print and see how it comes out, right? And if you have to redo it, we have to redo it. But File, Print. You're going to choose your printer and stuff. I have this HP OfficeJet Pro 8030. And you want color on, unless you're printing in black and white for whatever reason. And then press print. And now the printer should print your photos and you go get them from there. And if they're good, you move on to the next step, which is back to the cutting board. All right, so we're back to the cutting mat. And in case anyone was wondering, that is what this green thing is called. This is called a cutting mat. And we have our photos printed, right? And now I'm going to cut them out and see if they fit well, or if I can get them to fit well. They seem to be very well sized already. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, you're probably gonna need a scissors for this part. Of course, you could also use like an X-Acto knife and a ruler if you want to do that, but I'd rather use the scissors for stuff like this. So yeah, my bad on that. So let's cut these out. I want to work with a smaller space, so take these, put these at the side for now, and then let's do them in order, I guess. So first one is the St. Michael image. Let's cut this out. I'm trying to basically get very little white around it at first, then I'm going to cut it to the exact proportions that I want afterwards, right? So that's all I'm doing here, just cutting this off, cutting the white off until I get it very close to where I want. And then I'm going to start actually now following. If you look closely, you'll see there's that black line from what we printed on GIMP. And I'm going to basically try to follow that black line. Or I guess, you know what? Let me actually cut the photo to its regular size without the black line and see if that fits well. Because if it does, we don't want to go any smaller, you know? So that's kind of a good way to avoid ending up too small. So I'll cut the photo beyond the black line, actually where the photo itself is, and see if that fits well. So just cut straight. All right, so now we've cut all the white off, and I'm going to check to see if it fits into this back part or if it's too big. And it seems to be a bit too big, so we're going to go along the black line now and see if that will fit. All right, so now we've cut along where the black lines were, and let's see if it fits in the back of this thing or not. And it fits. Perfect fit. Yeah, beautiful. From the front, you can see it's perfect. So the black lines actually came out very, very well. So we're gonna put that one to the side, and now we're gonna do the others. And I'll probably speed this up because it's gonna be literally the exact same process over and over and over, and well, it's 4 times, so over 3 times, right? So over and over and over, okay? All right, so all 4 of them fit very well. I think they may be a bit short on the top, but it's not a problem because there's that groove there. If there wasn't the groove, then I'd need to be a bit more accurate with it. But I mean, they fit very well. Let me show you what I mean as far as the top part goes. So if you look here at the very top, there's just a little tiny bit of space right there, you see, but you're not going to notice that from the front or anything, so that should be fine. And now, so the next step of this is actually to cut the plastic. Okay, so the first plastic I'm going to use is these little plastic squares that I said I had, and to cut them, let me see, I'm trying to think of how best to go about it. I guess I just use the same measurements as before, and maybe draw if I can. Let's see. I wonder if the pencil will show up. I don't think pencil will show up on these, but marker certainly will, or Sharpie. So let me get a Sharpie. So I'm gonna get a Sharpie, and I'm gonna try to draw a box on this plastic, which is the same size as what I have there, right? So I have, of course, the cutting board, which will help me if I line this up with the lines on the cutting board. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's transparent, but I'm definitely lining it up here. And so you're gonna have 1 inch and 15/16, right? Let me try that. 1 inch and 15/16. You just draw right here, put a Sharpie there, 1 inch and 15/16. If I'd make it a little bigger, it's actually okay because you cut it down later. By 2 inches and 5/16. And you can see the line I drew, right? By 2 inches and 5/16. Let's see. It's kind of hard to get it to stay still. 2 inches and 5/16. Okay, then I need to duplicate that. One inch and 1 inch, 1 inch and 15/16. And I want to draw a straight line between these two. And I want to not rub the marker off. All right. And so, oh, okay. And so I want to cut this out. I just rubbed a bit off by accident. It's good that it rubs off so I can take it off later. But I just want to cut. Now you see with plexiglass, you can't cut plexiglass with the scissors without very likely cracking it. So that's why I think this softer plastic is going to be better. And I can cut through it with the scissors, and it's not like breaking or anything or cracking, right? Cutting through it with the scissors. All right, that part is cut. Let's do this side. All right, so this is cut down, and let me get some tissue and wipe this marker off if I can. Or actually, I'll use Lysol, disinfecting Lysol wipe, because the alcohol or whatever should actually take it off much better. All right, let's wipe it off. Yeah, comes off very well. You see it's like coming right off of there. Let's give the thing a general clean up. Put this to the side for later usage. And just wipe it off. Oh. All right. And let's see if this fits. Where's the frame at? I'm missing a frame. How am I missing a frame? Oh, I heard this. All right, let's see if this fits. It's a little bit too big, so I'm gonna cut just a bit off. You see the side here? This part is way off. I don't know how it got so off. I think because the ruler slipped around a bit. I'm gonna cut a straight line along there and see if that helps. Or just use an X-Acto knife actually. Let's see if that will work too. I'm gonna try the X-Acto knife. Probably better use it with a ruler. And you notice I'm not wearing my gloves. The reason is because those gloves, they get very slippery with the plastic, and so it'll be like almost impossible actually to use those gloves for this purpose. I probably need some other plastic gloves. All right, let's see if this fits. Still a bit too big on the top there. Just cut that down to size. Let's see if this works now. And yeah, now, oh wait. Still a tiny bit. All right, let's see. Does that fit? It seems to fit. Oh, hold on. It's still a tiny bit. Wow. All right. Just a little tiny more to go. All right. All right, so that fits now. Okay. Now that works. And so we've got, all right, so now you can see kind of what the final result's gonna look like. See the picture behind the glass there, right? That's what we're going for. So the last step, of course, well, first let me do the plastic step for all the other 3, and then I'll show you the final step to actually just complete this whole project. All right, so I've cut the plastic for all 4 of them, and this is how they look currently. Right, I'm putting them this way because they're gonna fall out if I keep them the other way. All right, so all 4 of them have the plastic and the photo, and now the last step is simply to cut a piece of cardboard which will sit on the back and prevent it from falling out of the back, basically. Now I'm going to remove the photo and stuff for this part because I want to use the frame as a reference for my cutting process. Right, just put these here, up here. All right, put these here. Okay, so I'm going to use, you see this part, this level here, this is where I want the cardboard to sit. So I'm going to use that as my cutting reference. Now, since this is cardboard, I don't need to use a marker because a pencil should show up just fine, or even a pen, but I'll use a pencil. And I'm going to find a corner or something, and I'm going to just push the pencil in there and see if it can just draw me a line along that area. And I want it to, I don't want to move this at all. I want it to be very accurate. And let's see, yeah, so that works out pretty well. Now I have this, I'm gonna cut this out. Should be out now. Yes. All right, so now we have this little piece of cardboard, which hopefully is the same size as the back of our frame. Let's try it and see. I think that's close enough. Close enough fit. If you look at it from the side there, that's close enough. So now let me get the, let's do the St. Michael one first. Put the plastic in, then put the photo behind the plastic, then put this piece of cardboard on the back, and then I'm going to get some tape, and let's see if it will, hold it well. Tape is very sticky, which is good, is what I want. I need to cut a small piece of tape, not too big, because I don't want it to wrap around the front of the frame. Put that there. Cut this in like half or so. Yeah, you see this. Cut this in like, yeah, like 3/4 of this, I guess. Let me put it to the side. Now, trying to get a good hold on this so it doesn't slip around. All right, put that tape there. And I'm gonna put tape on the other side. Cut that off. Oh. I'll stick this on the same way. All right. Put a little more tape on it. Hopefully keep it a little more stable. All right, and now it's pretty much complete. Let's just stuck the tape on the back there, and I'm planning only to see this from the front, so I'm not too worried about the back. And that is what your finished product should look like. You've got your little glass on the front, the image, and a frame. The back is just this cardboard, and you can like use sticky tack or something on the cardboard to like stick it on a diorama wall or whatever. And yeah, I'm gonna do this for all 4 of them, and that's pretty much how the tutorial ended up. So this is the final result, and I'm probably gonna add some photos afterwards just to show you all what these may look like in a, like, say, miniature room, for example. But as far as me actually crafting stuff, I'm done for now. Well, as far as the video is concerned, I still have to do the other 3 off camera. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you like this, please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think would make this even a more streamlined process, better techniques, any tutorials you want to see and stuff. If you want to see certain tutorials and I know how to do it, then I'll do it. Peace.